Lordy. Well, that's a great question. Actually, I did a blog post called A Menopause Survival Guide for Your Relationship, and it's actually one of my most viewed posts. And I think that's because menopause doesn't just affect us as women. It affects all of those around us, but especially our partners. And just like I was talking about for women, I think education is key for men too, because most of them don't have a clue what is happening to us, and they have no idea how to be supportive. So in that blog post, I actually laid out 3 steps for men. So the first one, I know you will not find this surprising, is to get educated.
Right.
And the purpose is just to understand that, number one, what's physically happening to you and its impact on you. And number 2, that what is happening to you is not about him.
Right.
So that's the first step. The second step is about sex. Don't pressure us for sex. They need to understand that our libidos often wane when our hormones are shifting, and sex can actually be quite painful for some of us during this time. And then the third step is don't try to fix it. So as much as men are inclined to fix everything, they need to recognize that, the things that are happening in our bodies are, things that happen in our bodies, and we can't stop that any more than we could stop the world from turning.
Wow, that's great advice. Great advice. So, Lori, do you have a ritual that helps you begin your day? Because you have a lot of things going on in your head. You have a lot of information.
I do, and and I'm actually trying to use rituals not only for beginning my day, but also for ending my day.
I figured.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's actually, when you retire, there's this, it's a little hard to sort of turn off that, oh my God, I got to get up and get going and get moving and, and get to work. And I'm literally just starting to not feel guilty if it's 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm still having my coffee and I haven't done anything productive yet.
Right.
But I actually have started focusing on starting my day with gratitude. So before I get out of bed, I try to think about 2 or 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I've really found that it's a nice way to ground myself before I start the day. And then I have my coffee ritual, which is an important part. I make my coffee, I work a crossword puzzle, and figure out the day's plans.
I love that. That's a great way to begin your day. So what are your most favorite forms of exercise and why?
Another great question. And this has been sort of an evolutionary process for me. So I was a collegiate athlete, and then after that I was a gym rat, and I did marathons and I did triathlons. And it took me a long time to realize that exercise doesn't have to be about setting a new personal record or training for some big event. And I actually went through this period of time where I felt like if I couldn't get a quote unquote real workout in, then I may as well not do anything. And so I didn't. But I've been, having been a mover and been a non-mover, I truly believe that moving is so much better, and it's especially important in managing menopause symptoms like low mood and weight gain and fatigue. So I've really had a mind shift, and I think this is important in all 4 of those areas. We create these silly rules in our heads that we feel like we have to follow, and when we break one of those rules, we feel like we're failures. But with exercise, I have now a kinder and gentler approach. And you asked about my most favorite forms. Well, walking is probably my most favorite form. I try to walk every day. Sometimes I try to do a little bit of running as part of my walk. When I'm really pressed for time, I love the Johnson & Johnson 7-minute workout app. You'll get in 7 minutes, you'll get your heart rate up and you'll get some resistance training in.
And it's 7 minutes.
In 7 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
that's pretty incredible.
It's a great app, and it's free.
We like that.
Mm-hmm. But I think, I try to swim and bike, and basically I just try to do something most days, most days of every week.
And you don't, I think one of the things that most people, especially women do, men do it too, but women do it, as you said here, you don't beat yourself up, right? If life gets in the way. Many of us do, don't we?
Yeah. And I think it goes back to these rules that we set up for ourselves. I'm on a diet and I can't eat whatever the villain food of the day is.
Yeah.
And the second that you cheat, then, it's sort of like, well, crap, now I've screwed up and I'm a failure and I'm never going to get this right. And, I think it's just being kinder to yourself and forgiving yourself and then just starting over again at the next meal or starting over again the next day.
Right. And I know that you talk about nutrition too, about eating. Can you sort of maybe enlighten us, even in your own experience, some of the foods that one are you think are good for us, and the other foods that maybe we might need to stay away from if we're experiencing probably even postmenopausal,
Well, I certainly have my own philosophies on that. But as a nutrition coach, I try to be sort of diet agnostic because everybody's a little bit different. And a diet or a food that works for one individual may not be the same that works for another individual. I was reading a great article last week about sugar. And while sugar really doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, and there's certainly been a lot of work that it isn't, it is not a helpful health promoter. The article said that good health is neither created nor destroyed by a single food.
Wow.
And I just loved that comment. But I think in general, for menopausal women and beyond, just trying to eat more whole foods. So fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts and seeds, meats and seafoods, food that occur in their natural way, less processed food, because those processed foods contain extra sugar, they contain salt, they contain all kinds of chemicals that our bodies don't need, and our bodies are working hard in menopause anyway to try to keep our hormones balanced. So when you add chemicals on top of all of that, you're really sending some strange signals through that incredible machine that is your body.
Yeah. And you also talk about, and I know we sort of touched on it, but I think most women would like to know a little bit more about sleep, like the sleeping. Are there some things that we can take before we go to sleep that are natural, or is there something that we should stay away from before sleep?
Yeah. So sleep, when we sleep, somebody described this, and I loved this description. It's like when the cleaning crew comes into the office building once everybody has left for the day. Right. So when we sleep, our bodies rejuvenate themselves. Our hormones have some work to do while we're sleeping. We clean the clutter out of our brains while we're sleeping. And if we're not getting a good solid 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, then those things aren't happening. Mm-hmm. So the best advice in terms of improving your sleep hygiene are things like turning off all of your electronics 30 minutes before you go to bed. Keeping caffeine and alcohol to a moderate amount earlier in the day. Don't eat a big meal before you go to bed. Try to limit fluids for 2 to 3 hours before bed so that you're not getting up to pee.
Right.
Many times during the night.
Right.
If you're one of those people, and this was me, and sometimes honestly still is me, you get up, you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, and suddenly you're solving all the world's problems over and over and over again. And,
Right.
Your brain is now turned on and you can't get back to sleep. There's some great advice to do a brain dump before you go to bed. So literally just take a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything. That's bugging you.
Oh, Lori.
Before you go to bed, to get that out of your brain.
What great advice. I have to say thank you so much for being here today. What a treat it has been. And if you would like more information about today's topic, you can visit Lori Yacobi at My Menopause Navigator, on Facebook at My Menopause Navigator, MENOPAUSE NAV as in Victor, IGATOR, on Instagram at LOYACOBI, Twitter at My Menopause NAV. Many thanks again for being here on Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Lori. What a treat it has been.
It's absolutely been my pleasure.
I have learned so much, and we look forward to hearing more about you. And thank you so much for all the work that you're doing for all us women. I have to say that. Okay. Thank you very much. And please don't forget to check us out at yinyogalifestyle.com, adding enlightenment, calm, balance, and creativity to your everyday life. Thank you for joining Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Join us next time to continue our journey of balancing into a state of perfect harmony. Until then, this is Colette Darville, reminding you to inhale, so, and exhale, hum.